Texas Republican Congressman Randy Neugebauer joins us from Capitol Hill, a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Carl?
Good, good. A lot of discussion today about whether this will be an echo of what some call the cockiness, the confrontation of the inaugural. Is that what you're looking for today?
I think so. I think what the president laid out in his inaugural address was a very liberal and progressive agenda, one of more taxes, more spending, and more government. I feel like we're just going to get the details of that agenda tonight.
There's been a lot of discussion about how you go about with a big agenda. Some say it's his last chance to go big with a broad agenda when you still have so many economic anxieties at work. Is this tonight's speech, do you think, going to be about jobs and the middle class, or is it going to bleed into things like guns and immigration?
Well, I think it'll be a little of both, and I think one of the things that the president owes the American people is an explanation of why he wants to continue down a road that's not working, where we still have high unemployment, we still have one of the worst recoveries we've had ever, and that this prescription that he has prescribed for our economy of more borrowing, more spending, hasn't really brought about the jobs that he said we were going to have. Republicans, on the other hand, are going to talk tonight about how we're going to get America back to work, getting government out of the way, and facilitating the American people to get good jobs and to get this economy back on some kind of a recovery track.
That's going to involve Marco Rubio, of course, giving the response later on in the evening. To what degree is Rubio going to sort of crystallize or illustrate what some are calling a reinvention of the GOP's image, at least among middle-class Americans?
Well, I don't think it's a reinvention. I think Republicans have always been about empowering people and not necessarily entitling people. In my office in Washington, I have a little red wagon. It says, are you pulling or are you riding? I think what we want is to make sure that everybody in America has an opportunity to pull their own wagon and to have to enjoy the success and the liberties and the freedoms that are available in this country. And I think we're going to lay that out tonight with Senator Rubio's remarks.
You know, when it comes to specific things regarding the market, there's some reports today, Congressman, that he is not going to announce new regulations on carbon emissions for existing power plants. How much will you be on the lookout for things like that, things that affect energy, whether it's coal, nuclear, obviously things that have an effect on the rails as well?
Well, we'll be looking extremely close at that, because when you look at the sector, particularly around the country right now, the energy sector is really creating a lot of jobs in this country, particularly in the hydrocarbon area, despite this administration's continued efforts to try to thwart that. We want to make sure that the president allows America to have an all-of-the-above energy strategy country, and that we don't have the government picking winners and losers in the energy sector, and we let the energy sector continue to create jobs, particularly in the oil and gas area.
Yeah, I wonder if it would come as much of a surprise if he said tonight, you know what, that Keystone Pipeline, I think we're going to do it. Chances of that?
Well, I think there's a good chance we're going to do that. We should do that. If we don't invest in that infrastructure, it doesn't do us any good to find all of this oil and gas around this country if we're not able to get it to the markets that where we can use those energy resources.
If he comes across tonight, Congressman, not quite as strident as some say, if it's a little more in the middle, if he says when it comes to gun control and immigration, the right and our administration there's a meeting of the minds. Is that going to be a fair representation of where we're at?
I don't know. You know, talk is cheap. I think what we need to see is the president jump out there and really show us that he wants to come together and work on some of these solutions. We've heard him say this in the past, but when it came down to it, it was really basically what the president said was, it's either my way or the highway. He won't be able to get very much of his agenda done if that's the tone of his speech tonight.
Congressman, appreciate your time. It's going to be an interesting evening. Thanks so much.